Good morning, fellow debt slayers. Today we're going to talk about the budget. My name is Stephen Gallagher, and I am a personal debt coach trained and certified by the Dave Ramsey Group. And my personal mission is to help people get an understanding of their debt, build written plans on how to get out of debt, and to teach people how to manage their debt and stop letting their debt manage them. I also like to teach people how to stay debt-free in the future. So please, if you have time, like and follow us on this page below. And if you know somebody who needs help with their debt or managing their monies and getting out of debt and focusing on a budget, please refer them to our website down here at www.debtfreeresults.com. If there's anything that I can help you or anyone that you know with managing debt or building a plan to get out of debt, that's what I'm here for. And you can go out to our website and schedule a free consultation call with me, and we can talk about what financial issues you're having and see if we can build a roadmap on how to get out of your debt and also stay focused on staying debt free going forward. So, before we start, I read a study, a 2023 study, and it was conducted by payroll.org, and it highlighted that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that is a 6% increase over 2022. In other words, 3/4 of Americans struggle to invest and to save money for the future because they're paying and working on paying their monthly bills. And a majority of those people don't have a budget because we were never taught how to use a budget. So think of a budget. I like to think of it this way, and I convey this to all of my clients. Think of your budget as a roadmap to tell your money where it's going to go. Your budget tells your debt journey, and your budget is your roadmap to success and becoming debt-free. Now let that sink in for a minute, that we have bills. Everyone has bills, and a lot of times people have a lot of credit card bills, and they have medical bills, and they have car payments, and they have personal loans or whatever. And we're always in the rear taking care of those bills because we're not proactive on them, we're more reactive to them. A budget tells your money where it's going to go next month. And this is one of those mental mindset shifts that you, as a debt slayer, need to understand. When you come to the understanding in your mind that you're going to take control of your debt and you're going to take control of your money instead of your money managing you on a daily basis, then you're on your debt-free journey. So that's something that you have to learn, is that if you're tired of your money managing you and you want to take control of managing your money, then a budget is the way to go. So reasons, people start a lot of things at the beginning of the year, and a lot of times people try to start a budget. They don't know how to start a budget. They were never taught how to use a budget. They set unrealistic goals for a budget, or they write it up on a spreadsheet, or they write it up in a book, and then they put that book away and they never look at it again. So, what you have to do when drafting a budget, and it can be on a spreadsheet, it could be in your computer, it could be on a piece of paper. Doesn't matter where it is. But it has to meet these three criteria, or it and you will fail at your budget. And nobody wants to fail at a budget because, as we said earlier, your budget is a roadmap. And if you follow your roadmap and stick to your budget, then you become debt free. And if you're debt free, then you're less stressed, you don't have anxiety, you don't have worries, all those feelings that we all have, and the glass is half full instead of half empty, or vice versa. So when you're drafting a budget, write these down. First, your budget needs to be very detailed. It has to have every debt that you have listed. So it also needs to be realistic. And then the third thing is a budget needs to be flexible, because Murphy is going to knock on the door. You've got to be able to change the budget around if you have to. Good example. Last week, I posted a video on this earlier this week, but I had an issue with my truck. Now, we have an emergency fund, and there is money allocated in the emergency fund for this type of issue. But I had it in the budget, because we do a budget every month, that the truck had to go in and have some work done on the shift column. And when the mechanic called, he said it was a $600 problem. And I had in the emergency fund enough money to cover that, but I had to be flexible in the budget, even though it was in the emergency fund, because I had written in there $500. So I then went in, once I found out what the cost was, and changed my budget. So I had to allocate monies accordingly. So so that's an example of being flexible on your budget. Your utilities, you don't know what your utilities are going to be every month. So until you get the bill, you have to be flexible in reference to the number. Maybe there's a range that you have utilities are in a ballpark. So again, that's that flexibility. So the reason why budgets fail is that people don't follow these three criteria. They just write down a number and then they go on their way. They also start a budget and then they put the piece of paper in a drawer and they don't look at it again, and they go back to remembering everything in their head. And that kind of defeats the purpose of having a budget. So as I said, think of your budget as your roadmap to becoming debt-free. So therefore, I call it a debt-free roadmap, where you're going to tell your money where it's going to go. You know how much money is coming in, and if you have a budget, then you know where your money is going to go. And if you do your budget correctly, at the end of the month, you will have a zero under your input and output. So therefore, you've taken every single dollar and put it towards some type of a debt to pay off bills. So your budget should also have at the top of the list, of course, you have a line item that says your monthly income. So you may get paid weekly, you may get paid every 2 weeks, or you may get paid once a month. Have that number at the top of your budget, the top of your budget. And then the next four line items, these are your four walls of your house: rent or your mortgage, utilities, and that could be gas, water, oil, whatever, food, and then your car and gas. So again, with a lot of these, they're fixed expenses. Your rent or mortgage, you know what that's going to be every month. Your car payment, you know what that's going to be every month. Your insurance, car insurance, you know what that's going to be every month. That is a fixed bill. The flexibility of a budget is the utilities. You know, one month it might be $75, then next month it might be $82. Food is again the same thing, you know, but so you don't know what that's going to be every week or every month. So you have to allocate X dollars to it, and then you have to stick to your budget. So if you have, I'm just using this as an example, let's say that you allocate $150 a week to food. Then you have to write out a list of what you're going to buy, and you have to stick within that number. Yes, you're probably going to go over. If you're under, and you can roll it over to the next, you know, whatever. But again, this is a monthly budget, so you have to be flexible. But you also have to be realistic, and most importantly, it must be very detailed. So, you know, think of a budget as the 500-foot view of the status of your bills and expenses. If you can't afford, so think of it as a micro-focused view of your bills, and whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's very ugly, over time you'll be able to narrow in on your budget so that you have it down pat that your money is going to, you know, your bills. You will find areas of how to cut expenses. You know, you may at the end of the month, where you might have had, let's say, $250 for utilities, and next month you find out that you've only spent $210. Well, then you can take that money and put that towards another bill. And again, that's attacking debt. And so you might find that food, instead of spending, let's just say that you had $600 for food in your budget for the month, and you only spent $500, well, then take that other $100, because it's already allocated to food, and take it out of the food budget and put it towards a credit card bill. And again, you're attacking that bill. So at the end of the month, you're at the 0-0, and all is good. And you'll learn how to do this over time. So, you know, again, you're going to find areas of how to manage your budget, where you can save money and where you can be flexible and move it around. You know, on an average, it takes people 4 to 6 months to really hone in and live by a budget. And you know what? It's not hard to do, but it's It's something that you just have to work at. And that's what people don't do, is they don't focus on working at their budget. When you're doing your budget, when you're writing down your budget, don't lie. Don't not put a bill or an expense on your budget. And the reason I say that is it's your budget. It's your roadmap. So if you don't put something on your budget because it looks ugly, well, then the only person that you're hurting is you. And so you have to remember that this is your budget. It's not your somebody else's. If you're married, it's your budget. It will come back to haunt you, because right now a majority of the people keep everything in reference to bills and expenses and everything else that's going on in our lives up in our head. Being able to take it from here and put it on paper or in your computer gives you a visual of the state of your journey. So you may have 8 to 10 credit cards. You may have a student loan. You may have a medical bill. You may have a loan that your parents, lent you money. If you have it written down and you follow the baby steps in reference to the process, it gives you a roadmap as to how to get out of debt. And so that's the benefit of a budget. And list after those 4 topics of mortgage, utilities, food, and car, then list your debt, smallest to largest, on your budget. Don't do it by interest rate. Just don't do that. Just the smallest to the largest. And then after you have your four walls, then you attack the smallest debt as hard as you can with as much money as you can, paying the minimum on the other bills, but paying off the smallest debt as soon as possible. And then you roll it over, and then you roll it over, and so on. So I had also read something, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, about 68% of consumers say that a budget would have helped them make their personal and family goals. Let that sink in for a second. 68% of consumers say a budget would have helped them reach their personal and family goals. Now, the second part of this is, but 40% of them say they never had a budget and they don't know how to use a budget. And this is according to a poll put out by the Certified Financial Planners Board that oversees certified financial planners. So if you think about it, 68% of Americans, 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, right? And 68% of consumers wish they had a budget, but 40% of that 68% never used a budget. So the numbers are very high. And that is, if we had learned this, or if the schools had taught this to us in high school or in college, boy, wow, people would be so different in reference to their financial situations. So, the numbers don't lie, and these numbers are pretty high. 68% of consumers say a budget would have helped them reach their personal and family financial goals. That's huge. That's huge. So, making a commitment to a budget is changing your mindset that you're going to take control of your debt. And so think about that for a second. That right now, your debt and your bills manage you. They manage how you manage money. Whereas if you have a mindset to say, I'm going to take control of this, I've had enough, I am frustrated and this just isn't working, then mentally, if you can get on a budget and have your mindset say that I'm going to take control of this instead of your budget or your debt taking control of you, well, then you're on your way to a debt-free journey. And I'll tell you, it's pretty good. It really is. It's really good being able to manage your money instead of your money managing you. So know that you have to learn, and this is one of the hard parts about a budget. And if you really do listen to your budget, you have to learn to say no. And that's hard in this society because there's so much out there that people say yes to. And when people say yes, or they pull out their credit card, or they charge it, or they do whatever, that gets them into trouble. The I want compared to I need, there's a mindset. Everything is around the mind. If your mind leads, then the body will follow. Well, this is the same as a budget. If your mind leads, then the body will follow. So you have to say no. You have to say no to going out to dinner. You have to say no to the kids who want to stop at Burger King or McDonald's after school. You have to say no to shopping and buying things that you really don't need unless the money is allocated and it is in the budget. You have to say no to buying a new car. If you can't afford a new car, don't buy it. The sales guy at the car dealership, he's going to sell you anything because he or she is on commission. And once they're done with you in reference to signing the deal, they're on to another sale. Even if you're at Walmart and you see the Mountain Dew or the Diet Cokes or the Pepsis and you want one while you're standing in line, say no, because that $2 or $3 is not in the budget. And this is how people fall off the budget, is that they don't stick to a budget and they don't say no. So lead by example and say no. If you want to go out to dinner next month and you have the money in your budget, as long as it's in the budget and you don't go over your budget, then that's good. A lot of times though, people, and I'm just using these numbers as an example, in their budget, they have $1,000 of expenses and it comes down to zero, $1,000 in, $1,000 out. It's when they go to the store or they go out to dinner and they go and buy things, and then the $1,000 in comes up to $1,500 going out, and then you're in debt, $500. Whereas if you have the money in your budget for the next month, or you budgeted for a couple of months to buy something with cash, then that's the way to go. Then you're staying out of debt. So again, it's learning to say no. And I'm probably wrong on this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Most of your friends, most of family members, most of our coworkers keep all their expenses up in their head, and they probably don't use a budget. And I could be very wrong, and I hope I am. But it's just our nature to keep everything up here and not work with a budget. Like I said, if we were taught how to use a budget back in high school or in college, boy, that would be our society would be totally different because everyone would be working with a budget. So we as a society have to change our mindset when it comes to budgeting. We have to stop saying yes and actually say no. So if you know somebody who needs help attacking debt, if you know somebody who needs to learn how to make a budget because they don't know how to, then refer them to this site, or refer them to our website at www.debtfreeresults.com. And if you have time to follow us and like us on this page below, we'd very much appreciate it. And if you could share this to your friends, this helps more people than you know. So feel free to reach out. You can get a free consultation call if you schedule one on our website, again at www.debtfreeresults.com. I know that you can do this. It's not easy. If it were easy, then everybody would do it. But I am here to help. So if you need help, reach out through the website and schedule an appointment. My calendar's there, and I'd be more than happy to take some time and talk to you about your situation. The call is free, and if my services can be used by you to help your problems, then I'd be more than happy to do that. I help people with their budgets, with their baby steps, and help them get out of debt on a daily basis. So I am here to help if I can. So in the end of this, I hope you have a great day. God bless. Stay focused on your budget. I know, again, that you can do this, and if you need help, reach out. Have a great day, and thank you for stopping by.